All right, we are here at Farm Progress 2026 with Eric Hansotia, who is the Chairman, President, and CEO of AGCO. Welcome.
Oh, it's great to be here. I always love being at these farm shows. You know, I grew up in 4-H and Future Farmers of America and all that, and just love being around farmers.
And it's beautiful weather, by the way. We got lucky this week.
Best ever.
It's an interesting time in ag, and so there's a lot of challenges that farmers are facing. How does AGCO fit into that picture and help farmers out?
Yeah, you know, you talk to farmers, and right now, especially if you're a grain farmer, they're under a margin pressure. Protein farmers, you know, livestock farmers are doing a little better, but grain farmers are under pressure. The prices of grain that they're getting are low, a lot of uncertainty in the market, and some of their inputs are high. So what we're trying to help them is solve that equation, and largely it's through precision ag, and other ways that we'll probably unpack later. But how do we serve them better, and how do we give them solutions on their farm that make them more productive?
So if you are talking to someone who's not familiar with AGCO, what's the elevator pitch? How do you tell them, and how do you describe the company?
Well, so AGCO is the largest pure play ag machinery business in the world. So essentially, we aim to be the most farmer focused company. And what does that mean? So it means we have multiple brands of equipment that serve different segments of the market. We have in our machinery business, we have our Fendt brand that serves the very high end, most demanding farmers, those that want the best of the best. Most technology, best support, highest quality, things like that. Our other brand is Massey Ferguson in North America, and that's for the straightforward and dependable customer, a little bit easier solution. And then we have our technology business. We call it PTX, Precision Technologies Multiplied. That serves everybody. So it has this notion called retrofit, and essentially what we're trying to say is we'll sell you a technology module to go on your existing machine, not only from our company, but from any company, no matter what brand you have. We'll sell that on your machine and give it new capability. Automate a feature to take a complicated task and do it better for you than you could do on your own. So that's how we come to market with those three products. And then we have this thing called Farmer Core. It's our distribution strategy where we, instead of having the farmer come to the dealership, a brick and mortar dealership like the customer has to come to the mall, we come to the dealer. Or come to the farmer. And so it's the business coming to the farmer instead of the farmer coming to the business.
That flips everything on its head a little bit.
Completely 180 degrees from the way everything's been done for the last 100 years. So those are all examples of why we're the most farmer focused.
That retrofit capability is really interesting and probably, I imagine, important because farmers may not want to buy a new tractor every year. There's probably new capabilities coming out that you're introducing that they want, but they want to maybe put it on their old equipment.
Exactly. You know, a typical piece of large ag machinery lasts 15 or 20 years, but yet the technology keeps evolving way faster than that. So there's many customers in the market that say, this thing's not worn out yet. I don't want to go buy a brand new one, but I do want that new capability. Retrofit's the best way to do it, especially the way we do it, in that we serve all the brands. And now we're adding to that our mixed fleet data platform that not only is the machine a mixed fleet strategy, but the data coming off those machines. We'll ingest data from any brand of equipment, let the farmer do the analytics on their farm, and then send data back to any brand of equipment. So it's another complement of this mixed fleet, all farmer serving business.
One dashboard to kind of see the big picture, everything right there.
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting. You talk a lot about precision ag, innovation in that space. What can farmers expect with regards to innovation in precision ag, and what changes will come to the farm?
Well, you know, I grew up in the farming business, went to school for engineering, so this is an exciting time. I think the next decade is going to be the most innovative time we've ever seen in the history of agriculture. That's why we're investing so heavily. We've doubled our engineering spend since I've been able to lead the company. We bought 6 technology companies. We just made the biggest tech deal in the history of agriculture, ag tech, last year, where we $2.3 billion business to create PTX. All of that is about being the most powerful, competent, capable team in the market to solve the toughest problems for farmers. And so we're doing that with our technology innovation, and we're building a retrofit channel that all they do, they don't sell tractors or combines or sprayers, they just sell technology to farmers and really help explain how their farming operation can be better by using these new tools.
You brought that up. That was an iconic big acquisition, $2.3 billion. You bought 85% of the Trimble assets there. How's that going? How are things going in terms of rolling those features out and the PTX rollout?
I think it's the most exciting thing in all of agriculture. I love being around that team. In fact, I was actually able to lead it myself for the last few months as we were doing a leadership transition. I got really close to the business, spent time at several of our sites, just right side by side with engineers, talking to them about what they're working on, and with our salespeople, about how they're helping our dealers grow. It's going really well. We're rapidly expanding our dealer portfolio. We've got the technology onto all the AGCO machines. You know, when we closed the deal, we were only about 20% usage of Trimble technology. Now we're over 90%.
Oh, wow.
So our machines have converted completely. We're ramping up dealers rapidly. And in the early days, I thought maybe we'll have about 5 new innovations coming to market by now. We're going to have 11 this year and even more next year. So the innovation flywheel is spinning even faster than I had hoped. And so I'm thrilled about the way the team's performing.
You travel a lot and talk to farmers all over the world. What are some of the things you're hearing from them in terms of challenges and what they're excited about?
Well, you know, it's a common thing. Margin pressure is a challenge everywhere for farmers, and so they're always needing to get better next year than they were last year. They've always got to do something different. They can't stand still or they're going to get left behind. So margins is one thing. Uncertainty is a bigger one now than it has been the last few years. They just don't know the rules of the road in terms of their costs or their prices. A third one is probably sustainability. It doesn't get as much talk, but it's clearly a growing trend for farmers about more pressure to do things with less inputs and so on, and labor. So those are all ingredients to what drives our innovation portfolio. We're trying to solve those issues for farmers through our technology solutions that do a task for a farmer better than they can do so themselves, manage labor, provide more certainty in terms of their costs. That's what drives us.
The sustainability question is something you basically say it's basically saving money because more inputs cost more money and everything's getting more expensive. So that's really the way it should be framed in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you simplify it, sustainability just means don't waste.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest costs for a farmer, you know, these last several weeks I've been with farmers every week, one of the biggest costs for a farmer is fertilizer. And so we've automated the soil sampling process because that's the best information you have on what kind of fertilizer I should put down. We also have automated tools to precisely put down just the right amount. You know, if you take a look at how much fertilizer a farmer uses, all the farmers around the world would fill up rail cars of fertilizer that would be a train that would go all around the planet. And yet only half of that gets absorbed by the plant. So it's a huge cost, a huge waste, and it's an opportunity for us to do better for them.
What keeps you up at night? And the turn side of that question is, what do you jump out of bed in the morning for excited about?
Yeah, I'm more excited than worried. You know, what I worry about is the plight of our farmers. You know, when I talk to them, they're under a lot of pressure right now. It's a cyclical business.
Yeah.
We're at the bottom. We call that the trough. And so that's probably what I spend most of my calories is how can we do a better job serving them? But what I'm excited about, our innovation engine is doing great. I love the culture we've adopted as a company to be the most farmer focused. Every single employee, we have 28,000 employees, they're all trying to understand the farmer better. So I love our culture. And I love the channels that we're building, the dealer organizations to serve our farmers better.
5 years you've been chairman, CEO, and president now.
Yeah.
What has surprised you the most in that time? And maybe what hasn't surprised you at all?
I didn't realize the breadth of topics that come across my desk. I mean, it's amazing how many different stakeholders we have in the business that we need to try and support. So that's probably the biggest surprise, and the number of things that pop up that you didn't count on. But the number of things I'm excited about, how fast, I'm thrilled at how fast we've been able to get an organization excited about our purpose and where we're going and serving farmers, and how much change can happen in a short amount of time. Our organization has grabbed a hold of where we're going and delivered groundbreaking solutions, farmer core distribution, PTx innovation, our brand building and globalizing that, growing our parts and services, on and on and on. It's amazing what an organization can do when you get them very, very focused and very excited, and we're doing that.
What would surprise people most to learn, farmers in particular, about AGCO? Anything?
You know, I think AGCO is the most underappreciated business, underappreciated kind of team in the industry right now. People don't realize how great Fendt is as a machinery business because it's still new to this market. I'm talking mostly to the North American audience right now. And PTx. Very few people understand the power of what we've built and the power of what we're building. What Fendt brand can do for farmers for a new machine, what PTx can do for all farmers on their existing machines, and how reliable Massey Ferguson has become. All three of those things are misunderstood and underappreciated in the marketplace. And so that's why we use farm shows like this to help share what we're doing and where we're going and what it means for farmers.
I was at the press conference this morning, and you really emphasized how when you're talking to farmers, you're really making them the center of the conversation. You're putting them first. What does that mean when you say farmer first?
Yeah, many companies are actually product focused.
Okay.
They go onto a farm and they say, well, tell me about your tractor and how you like your tractor. What about the features? Anything else about your tractor? No, and then they exit. And the farmer's left saying, well, really, they didn't care about me. They just cared about their product. What we're trying to understand is farmer economics, the agronomy of the crop. How's your crop going? What issues are you having? How are you managing your business? Where are you losing money? Where are you making money? And in there come pain points.
Yeah.
And then you say, all right, now how can we attack that pain point from technology or data or how we support the farmer and come up with a full solution? That's how we're trying to become a farmer-focused company, understanding the farmer at the core, farmer economics, agronomy, and technology, and how those things intersect.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. Eric, thanks so much for spending time with me. This has been great. Appreciate it.
Oh, I've enjoyed it. I welcome anybody that's in the area to come by and talk to our team. I think you'll leave not only more informed, but way more excited about our future than when you came here.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.